Hello and welcome to another episode of Growcast. Jordan River here, and today we have, well, I guess you could call it a breeder feature. Yeah, it's a breeder feature. Heart and Soil. We love Heart and Soil. They do breeding, they do hemp breeding, they do regenerative agriculture. So this is a quasi-breeder feature mixed with some regenerative ag, mixed with some big hemp. It's a great, great episode. Quality content coming at you today. Before we jump in, though, with Heart and Soil, got to give some love to Buxton Hollow Farms, one of my favorite partners of ours. BuxtonHollowFarm.com is where you can find them. BUXTON hollowfarm.com. GCL10 is the 10% off discount code you can use just for listening to this program. Pick yourself up some Easy Tea. Their compost tea kit is so easy. I mean, I'm a kind of organic noob, and I am loving this compost tea kit. You just order it, you use the code. It's like $50 or $60, and then you're set, and you have tea bags. You can re-up on tea bags when you need them, and it is so worth it. You get so many feedings when you dilute the tea, and it's quality stuff, man. It's just like that stuff from back in the day when I would pick it up from Bayside. Easy Tea, that's what I call it. Also, check out their plain or pre-charged biochar. They've got seed starter. Really cool stuff at BuxtonHollowFarm.com for you natural growers. Actually, that compost tea, I used to use that in my synthetic days, and they love it. So don't think that you can't use compost tea if you're using synthetics. Because, yeah, when I would put that into my synthetic, my ProMix soil synthetic setup, they freaking love that. BuxtonHollowFarm.com, GCL10 for 10% off. GCL10. All right, everybody, let's get into it with Heart and Soil. Enjoy the program. Thanks for listening. Hello, podcast listeners. You are now listening to Growcast. I'm your host, Jordan River, and I want to thank you for tuning in today. Before we get started, please share Growcast with a friend, with a grower. Spread the show. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us a good rating and review. It really helps out. Today, we have a breeder feature. We're talking about regenerative agriculture. We're talking about different hemp strains and all sorts of strains. Today, we have Brett from Heart and Soil and heartandsoilproject.com. What's up, Brett?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, man. It's going very well. How are you doing today? Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm doing wonderful. Loving life out here in Colorado. We got the snow on the ground and the sun's shining, so it's a good day.
Yeah, right? That's that like Fort Collins type weather. It's like the sunniest.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I like that a lot. Tell me about heartandsoilproject.com. Tell me about your kind of inception of Heart and Soil and your whole journey.
Yeah, we started Heart and Soil Project about 2 years ago. We're mainly focused on regenerative agriculture and how we can integrate regenerative agriculture into the hemp, CBD, and cannabis markets in various ways. We specialize in genetics, both hemp genetics and cannabis genetics. High THC, and low THC and high CBD. So a variety of hemp products, but
nice.
We really wanted to focus on, like I said, regenerative agriculture, because there's I feel like there's a lot of the industry that, mainly focused on, making money and production, maximizing production and things of that nature. And I've been a part of that here in Colorado, and I've seen, some of the practices. And after I went down the rabbit hole, I realized I didn't really want to be a part of those practices. And as the industries grow across the country, across the world, the footprint of the cannabis and hemp industries is becoming bigger and bigger. And I want to try to find ways to minimize that footprint. The bigger the industry gets, I want us to be, a catalyst for change in, the overall markets, and try to at least control what we can in our sphere and try to do things, ethically, and things that are safe for humans, plants, and better for the earth in the long run.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So that's the main goal.
So I totally vibe with you on that. And it's interesting because it's like you said, I don't think there's anything wrong with someone making a buck. It's just making a fair buck. Because
100%.
When there's a green rush, when there's a gold rush, when there's any sort of large amount of cash trading hands, there are going to be bad actors. And you need to make a fair buck, and then you need to make a fair buck without polluting the fucking rivers or killing off the birds or the bees. I mean, come on, the birds and the bees. That's what it's the
all
basis
about.
of everything. That's what it's all about. Exactly. What the fuck? So no, my point is, I totally vibe with you on that, and that's one of the biggest points of regenerative agriculture. Even if it's just like you in your little home garden. And again, we welcome growers of all types, but if you are doing the regenerative agriculture thing and you're on a little small scale and you might think like, oh, what difference is this making? It's almost the spirit of it. It's almost the collective conscious of it.
It's the spirit of it. And if it's one guy's doing it successfully, another guy feels inspired to do it successfully.
Yeah.
So
it's like a virus.
It's the small guy. Yeah, the small guy makes a difference. If you can produce fire on a small scale, with regenerative agriculture, why can't it be done on a large scale? So that's one thing I'm trying to do is I started off very small scale on my regenerative agriculture, setup, and it's grown. And whether you got 6 plants, 12 plants, or 12,000 plants, it all matters because people are watching.
100%.
People are trying to learn new ways to do things. They're it's becoming more of a norm to want to grow your own. And
organic is better.
And organic is better. It tastes better. It smells better. You can do so much more with organics than you can with synthetics. It's just people that love gardening. They don't know anything about pH, but they know how to grow a tomato. I bet that your grandma would love to be able to grow her own medicine just like she can grow her own tomatoes.
100%,
and she wants to be able to eat and drink and smoke and medicate with organic products. And I think it's becoming more and more of a norm. And that's what we're all about. And we do CBD products. We do tinctures, capsules, salves. We do CBD shirts. All that kind of stuff on the hemp side, and that's really where we put our roots in.
That might be where you can make the bigger impact. If I'm being, I don't mean to cut you off, but on the hemp side,
yeah, no, of course.
On the hemp side, it's like okay, and again, I don't want to knock the salt growers. I'll smoke your salt wheat. I prefer organic,
and they push for the progress too.
But if you think about it, the small scale guys using synthetics in their closet grow isn't going to make a massive impact. The medium scale cannabis farmers using synthetics is going to make a minor impact. If they switch to regenerative agriculture, it's going to make a moderate improvement. If the nationwide hemp industry booms to the size that some people are saying that it's going to boom to, and they switch to regenerative agriculture, that could have a massive, ecological size.
Yeah, impact. we could save rivers and downstream.
That's what I'm saying.
Pollutants from getting down there. Yeah, exactly. So, and a lot of it, you're not going to. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
It starts with the small bite. It starts with the small grower. It starts with
That's true.
Taking a stand and saying this is who we are. This is what we're going to do, and we stick to it. I've been involved with some companies that thought they wanted to do regenerative agriculture, and then once they started. They're like, oh, well, we need to pump out more weight. We need to pump out more weight. So they switch back. Well, then their following, suffers. It's like, well, the quality suffers, So,
it's a trade-off for sure. And
it's a trade-off for sure.
I'm a fucking, I am a hypocrite in a lot of ways because I'll smoke all sorts of weed, man. I'll smoke all the weed, but if you give me a choice and if someone asks me what type should I grow, I'm looking for top quality medicine. That organic flavor, that organic terp profile, that aroma, and the balanced high that comes from said terp profile, there's just that little extra boost in there, man. And also, I mean, as a breeder, do you not see it kind of reflect in the genetics too? People talk about how strains that are bred with regenerative agriculture are just a little bit different, and they do better in a regenerative setup. They don't take time to adjust. So I've heard. Yeah,
it's tough, because I have a lot of good, what I call salt. We call salt farmers that are probably going to listen to this, and I don't want to bash anybody. I don't want to say one.
Oh no, this is a good space to. Yeah, we're pretty well balanced.
One is not necessarily superior than the other, but I will say that the plants take what they need in a regenerative agriculture system. And I select my plants based on who does well with minimal impact.
That makes sense.
I'll plant 50 to 100 seeds in a 50-gallon pot, and whoever wins. We got winner. we got winners and we got losers in this cannabis game, especially with seed,
No, that's a good point though. It's totally going to reflect. Of course it's going to reflect your growing style.
If you can't get above the cover crop, in time, that strain gets cut down, that phenotype loses. So my males and my females are very reflective of my growing methods in that regard, because they take what they need and I don't feed anything but plain water, so whatever that living soil has inside of it, the plants take what they can and do what they can with it, and the winners get to move on to the next round.
Damn,
so
that's a good illustration.
That's kind of how I do it. I do have a large no-till living soil following who feel that. They're like, okay, these plants have been bred and selected in no-till living soil. That's what I'm doing also, and then they do well in all environments. But I really breed them for vigor, structure, and resistance to pest, disease, and drought. So, whether you're indoors, outdoors, all those, attributes are beneficial to the grow, and whether you're using salts or no salts. So
I like that.
I do love, no-till, and I'll be a no-till guy till I die. But some of my strains are being grown in, places like Euflora, for example. They don't do no-till. They do, but they do have greenhouse grows and stuff like that. But overall, they use, synthetic nutrients. But they are killing it, with my Peruvian punch. So who am I to say that one way is better than the other? But so it's, but I do, I get that a lot. It's like, is your method better than everybody else's? Well, it's better for me, so I choose to do it.
That's exactly
so
right.
I try not to ostracise, the other.
You're right along with us here, man. Not everyone has the same right answer in their setup, and for a lot of people, organic is the way to go. But it's just about getting. This is what I always say. It's about getting people growing. I'd rather see somebody growing
100%,
in a different style than me, but growing. I'd rather see someone growing under a different light than me, but growing. I don't give a shit what light you grow under. Right. Man. Some people get pretty serious. Some people want you to have the same tent. Love the same breeder. Hate the same breeder that breeder's beefing with. It's like, can't we all just get along? Sometimes I feel that way.
And I really try to stay away from the drama and the beef of the industry. I've been growing in Colorado since 2011. I've seen the rise and fall of a few breeders and a few feuds, and it's peace, love, and herb, man. It's like, let's just grow and get along, and I try to bring every single person into the fold, but yeah, I agree with you. It's an interesting industry we work in. We gotta read between the lines and work between the lines when we're navigating. But it's I wouldn't
trade it for anything. I agree though.
No,
you're totally right.
Yeah, it's definitely special. And I one thing I wanted to do whenever I started in this industry was, I've always put in my resume, I want to make a positive impact on the cannabis industry, and that's still my mission. Is I want to just make a positive impact on this cannabis and hemp industry in whatever way I can.
That's awesome,
so
man.
That's a
small
the goal.
But noble
that's really the goal of
goal.
what we do.
I like that. Make a positive impact. It's like you said, eating that elephant one bite at a time. You brought up a strain though, so now we got to go there. People need to hit you up on Instagram to get at these home grow strains that a lot of people are going to be after with the high counts of the THC. What is your Instagram handle?
Instagram is Heart and Soil Project. At Heart and Soil Project.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. About to do a URL. That's what I do every time too.
Yes, I started to give my the email.
Exactly.
The website. Yeah.
No, you got to hit him up on Instagram, and I am so excited about this, man. So the first thing I like to ask people is, which strain do you feel represents what you're trying to achieve best?
I think for now, one thing I'll, kind of back to this. One thing, the reason we called it the Heart and Soil Project is the project never ends. There's some breeders out there, they try to find their bread and butter and they stick with it. Well, our bread and butter is always trying to find that new. So
nice.
What we did initially is I went out to Peru and found some genetics there and brought those back and worked the Peruvian line to start. And I crossed it with a Mendo Breath Purple Punch from Symbiotic, and so I crossed the Peruvian punch or the Peruvian male with the punch breath. So it's Mendo Breath and Purple Punch, and I found a bunch of awesome phenos. But I would say kind of go back to your question. The Peruvian Punch is our bread and butter right now. It's vigorously vigorously growing, chunky. It's got that purple punch look, but more of like a cookie, shape of the buds. Tons and tons of bud sites. It's got kind of like a lavender grape soda
Ooh.
kind of vibe going on with Kim in the background. What I'm trying to do is cross these heirloom genetics, unlock some of these hidden terpenes and attributes, these the vigor, resistance to pest disease and drought, and cross them with more modern strains that have been proven in the gardens. The purple punches, the gorilla glues, the cookies, the this that. So
blending the two worlds, man. When worlds collide.
The two worlds, when worlds collide, and so the Peruvian punch, the main cut that we found that was the best that Euflora actually has is the Purple Nancy cut. It was a grower that their handle name was Nancy. Her name was not Nancy, but they found this pheno in the testing process about a year ago, and we that's what we used to make our F2, the 1-2 punch. So that's our newest line.
Oh, that's a cool name.
The Peruvian punch F2. We're really trying to to expand the horizons but like I said, the Peruvian punch is our bread and butter right now. We got the Peruvian punch F2 second wave dropping December 1st. That'll be the same Peruvian punch male across a bunch of brand new awesome stuff like banana puddington. And we'll keep the rest kind of secret for now, but we'll feel free to reach out to me and we can get you the list. But
oh boy, you're gonna get a flood, because that Peruvian sounds incredible. Before we return to Heart and Soil, DynoMyco.com time. God, I love DynoMyco. Use Growcast for 10% off. DynoMyco is, it's endomycorrhizal fungi. The good stuff. The stuff that increases your yield. The stuff that makes happier, healthier plants. Just boosts the fungal life in your soil. Gets that soil food web going. Well, DynoMyco is the most vigorous mycorrhizal product, according to Mary Beth's research and according to my empirical research. Because when I add DynoMyco, man, you see that reverse transplant shock, baby. DynoMyco.com. Also, the code works on Amazon for the larger bag sizes? No, all sizes. Code GROWCAST. GROWCAST is the code on your DynoMyco. Step up your myco game. I really, really love this for the dry adding myco. It is my top pick right now. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised when Mary Beth said she tested myco products, and so far, DynoMyco leads the way as far as concentration of the good stuff, the endomycorrhizal fungi that you want. DynoMyco.com. Code GROWCAST for 10% off. Also works on Amazon, I believe. Yeah. And you can find that store at growcastpodcast.com/DynoMyco. All right, everyone, let's get back to Heart and Soil. I just want to dig into the Peruvian acquisition, the trip to Peru, what the cannabis culture was like down there, who you met. Just tell me about that whole story.
So it's interesting. The cannabis culture there is very, it's hush hush anywhere it's not legal, right? You kind of had to be talking to somebody at the bar, or we happened to be at the top of one of the monuments up there in Cusco, the church up there near the church actually, and there was just some guys that happened to be smoking, and I was like, and just down by the ravine or whatever, and I was just like, that smells familiar, so I kind of just like moseyed on down there and just kind of let them know that I knew what they were doing in a good way.
Did the scent lift you off your feet by the nostrils like the wolf from the cartoon?
One of those
who
Pepe
smells
Le Pew type of moments,
Yes.
Yes, just and I was with a buddy of mine that did not smoke, so I kind of had to like stealthily, without him really knowing, kind of get off to the side and these guys I was gonna buy some from them, and they ended up just giving me some.
Damn, that's cool.
They just gave me like a big fat bag, probably like, an eighth or something like that. I was like, wow, thanks guys. And we just talked for 5 minutes, and that was it. And they didn't, ask for anything of me. And that was pretty much it. And I went back to the hotel and smoked some. And it was interesting because, that whole area, it's got a lot of history of different kinds of agriculture. And they have like the most kinds of potatoes in the world is in Peru. Most different kinds of corn is in Peru. It's just a very it's an epicenter for cultural interaction over history. So they got some interesting agricultural roots. Well, we found a bunch of different kinds of cannabis in Peru, but that variety that we're talking about right now, it was chunkier. It had almost like a like purple tone, but it wasn't purple. But most South American herb you see is swag. It's straight sativa.
Something about the bud structures are just very strange, and obviously our North American and specifically American cannabis shape has been forged by the genetics, and then a lot of people using like PGRs to get that hard bud dense kind of shape we all know. But if you go to some of these other countries, you're right, they're like all frayed out. They just don't look the same. Their genetics are way more stretchy and foxtaily and just weird.
But this one was different. This one was a little bit more nuggy, but it still had that, it was very, very dense and almost had like an indica look, but it still had that cerebral, euphoric, energetic, high, that reminded you of, South America. But the structure was that was what intrigued me. So I found some seeds in that bag, brought them back, and ended up with 5 plants. Culled them down to 3, 1 male and 2 females, and started the Peruvian line. So we had
that's a good haul.
Yeah, so we still have the Peruvian punch or the Peruvian BX, the second version, but the first version is sold out. So it's gone, and we may do another line of it. We may just go on to the next one, but that's where it all started, and that's where the Peruvian punch came from. And then we went from that line to the Peruvian punch F2 line, and then we've been playing around with some other ones. We did the Mozambique line. We're working on an Afghani line right now that should drop.
Which one of the Mozambique versus the Peru are you more proud of? Are you personally more fond of?
So personally, I think I'm more fond of the Peruvian because it's got a lot of those sativa elements, but it's not like 15 weaker. It's not like all day, haze sativa, that takes forever to finish. This Peruvian finishes a lot faster than most sativas.
Oh, for those impatient growers like me, I'm so fucking impatient.
No, well, and most people, it's like they want to get as many, harvests in per year as they can, which is totally understandable.
Right.
So it's like I try to get that, sativa, those melon, tropical, incense, terpenes in, pack them into a tighter package. What I like to say is bring them down to earth, so like more people can grow them, because there's only a lot of old school, growers will grow that sativa, but it takes them all year, to do it outside. Right. Where, with these new Peruvian genetics, you can fit them in a tent, you can fit them in a shorter growing environment,
like that.
So that's kind of,
I like that a lot, man.
That's kind of the idea there. And that's my bread and butter is that Peruvian punch V2 right now.
So when you went to Peru, a little bit off subject, but I have to ask, did you visit Machu Picchu?
We did. That was the whole, that was the trek. So we took, there's the Inca Trail has a couple different routes. We took the Lares trek. It was a 3.5 day, hike and camp, up to the base of Machu Picchu. So we went through Cusco, went all through the mountains, went over the, over the mountains, down the mountains, in the valley.
Oh my God, those bus rides. Did you get the horrifying bus rides with no railing?
Oh, to the very top of Machu Picchu?
Yeah, I remember it a couple different times. But yeah, I do believe just before Machu Picchu, there's that like winding bus trail.
There is, yeah. They took it pretty slow, so it wasn't too treacherous. But yeah, that was
I don't
that
like
was
that.
That was the the peak, was Machu Picchu. But really, we thought that Machu Picchu was going to be the best part, but man, there was just so many different ruins and the markets and the people, some of the things that we did, the best things that we did weren't even planned, so that was
totally.
with this age of COVID and all the stopping of travel and stuff like that right now.
Makes me miss
It
travel,
really
dude. Yeah,
does.
totally.
Like, I'm like itching.
I'm a fucking
Yeah,
traveler.
I'm itching.
So
I'm itching.
it kills me. I went to Peru when I was before I was an adult, though. I was probably like 16 years old, so I didn't quite get to enjoy it as an adult. But we did go to Machu Picchu, and for those listening who haven't heard of Machu Picchu, it's an ancient Peruvian ruin. But what's crazy about Machu Picchu is it was built in the 1400s, and then literally overnight, they kind of theorize in the later 1500s, it was completely abandoned. Everybody left. Picked up, moved. They didn't find bones, right? They didn't all die from a disease. They would have found bones. They just completely abandoned this beautiful fortified ruin, and nobody knows why. It's really
the
crazy.
Craziest thing about it is they wouldn't have found most of it, but there was like an explorer, I forget his name, but there was an explorer that wanted to get money to uncover it, and they thought he was crazy. Well, he ended up getting a small portion of money and started to uncover it. And the more he uncovered, the more tourists started coming, and they're still uncovering stuff today. It's not all. They still the jungle is swallowed up. They estimate that Machu Picchu, they probably have maybe half of it uncovered.
Whoa.
Isn't that cool to think about all the little civilizations and different cities and stuff like that that could just be buried in different cultures that be buried under the jungle, waiting to be discovered. So.
Really cool, man. And I'm sure there was some great weed even back then. I mean, that's what it seems like. This plant has been around for fucking ever. Finding hemp ropes that are fucking, 29,000 years old in Czechoslovakia. So interesting stuff, man. And I'm a big fan of the international flavor. What else would you like to highlight? Maybe talk about the Mozambique or just anything you think that my listeners would like to
let's see.
over.
The Mozambique line. So the Mozambique line, a friend of mine, there's a good grow buddy of mine. His family is from some Malawi, some family from Malawi, and some family from Mozambique. And they had been collecting seeds over the past 20 years, and they gave some to him. And when he heard about the projects I was doing with landrace strains, he's like, "Hey man, whenever you're ready, I got these strains." So lo and behold, I was ready, and when we popped like 20 Malawi seeds and 20 Mozambique seeds, found a Mozambique male, and we found one Malawi female that were there's a lot of variance in those Malawi strains and the South African strains, and we wanted to find something that really worked well for our mission and not just throw in two sativas together and cross your fingers, see what happens. We were trying to find a
lot of variance.
Yeah, we were trying to find the shorter, more compact, sativas, that could, hit well to OGs and hit well to different chems and stuff like that. So this line, there's less people that have grown this one just because of the amount of time it's been out. But I'm really excited for the Warrior OG, which is Larry OG crossed to the Mozambique. You got a crazy amount of vigor, but then also it packs on these golf ball nuggets, that just smell straight like OG. A lot of what these landrace strings are bringing is vigor, trying to get from that 6-inch point, that bloom point, so we're not waiting, we're not doing 16 weeks of veg. We can hopefully flip them in 8 or flip them in 12.
I'm doing that right now, man. Okay, I got a comment. I hate to bring it around to my garden, but that pertains, and I would love to get your kind of opinion on where the genetic pool is going, because these polyhybridized strains, they're for people who've never grown an auto. I'm just now growing an auto for the first time, and I'm already completely sold. I now have a 4-plant photo tent and 1 auto at all times in my veggie tent. I'm declaring it now. And the reason why is because I'm stunned by the vigor. It grows so incredibly fast. It seems to be, people say autos are finicky. Maybe shout out to Mandalorian genetics, but this thing is fucking strong.
Mandalorian, I've heard some great things from Mandalorian.
Okay, appreciate that. We like him a lot. But yeah, the point is, I'm pretty sure it's the ruderalis gene is very vigorous and grows at an extraordinary rate. Do you think that we're going to get to some like super hybridized point? Do you think that autos are going to get better and better until everybody's growing an auto?
So
I
the
don't know.
only
I would
thing
just like
about
your
an
general thoughts
auto
on that.
for me personally, autos are great for basically people that want to grow flower as soon as possible, which is most people, right? Especially new growers that don't necessarily know how to clone or keep genetics around. But an auto, most of them, it's really tough to take clones and keep them around. If you found like just an amazing auto strain,
That's true.
that's just like got those perfect blueberry terps. You might have to hunt through another 100 seeds, from that breeder to find those terps again. So
That's the part I never really considered as that's a big deal. You're right.
it's like you find those winners, like Gorilla Glue #4. It was one phenotype that happened to be the best one, and that proliferated throughout the cannabis culture. And that's the only thing about autos. Of course, they're great. They produce awesome flower. They're vigorous, but it's tough to, like, if I wanted to do, if you wanted to grow it next year, or you'd be out of luck.
Oh, 100%. And listen, you're talking, there's a reason I said
No,
I have four
no, no.
photos to my one auto. I don't think autos
But
are there
but
yet,
they're
but
fun.
maybe in 20
They're
years.
fun, and sometimes I don't have the patience. If I wasn't a seed breeder, I'd grow a lot more autos for my personal flower. I tell you that. But I haven't grown a personal
Right.
flower stock in a long time because I've just been cranking out seeds.
Funny how
Yeah,
that works, right? The seed tent gets bigger and bigger, and then suddenly there's just no flowering tents. What
I know.
happened?
I know you got to push
Oh
them out.
my
You got to
God,
push
man.
all your seeds off on all your buddies. To have them grow them out. But we're growing some out from the Peruvian Punch second wave right now. The banana puddington. I will say, so we named it Canna Banana. So it's Banana Puddington crossed with Peruvian Punch. Get that
Ooh.
strain. If you get any of them off the list, it is thick. It is mean looking. It is, it's just got these razor giant leaves. The vigor's crazy. Responds, to topping like a beast. I'm going to be popping more myself. We already have, three or four. Well, we have 3 or 4 left from the 50 that we popped about 6 months ago that are looking just amazing. And I'm going to be looking for a male. We know we have a good, strong female in there, but we're going to be looking for a male to breed with. And once, one thing about the seeds that we do, once they're gone for good. We don't make, we don't, we don't make, we don't make things over and over again. So,
Yeah, shit.
it, it's tough.
Some breeders do that,
It's
man.
tough. It's tough to, um, you know,
Breaking some hearts
well,
out there, but it's
breaking
good
so
because
much.
you're
We're
evolving.
always
You're like the
evolving. We're
Beatles.
always trying to do something new. We're always learning from, past, both, successes and past mistakes, and trying to move forward and correct, anything and just make things better and better and better and expand that genetic line. That's really what we're trying to do is open the genetic gene pool, and try to get, try to just find some fun stuff. It's like the Indiana Jones of cannabis strains. It's just hunting for that, that buried treasure. You don't know,
That's fun, man.
what you can find
That's fun.
until you try.
Well, I like the international flavors, and I think some people are going to identify with that. I think they want to try some stuff that has lineage from, thousands of miles away. So you're going to get some hits really quickly before we wrap it up, though. Talk to me about your hemp genetics.
So our hemp genetics, I've been working with the cherry wine for 5 years.
Oh,
I have a good friend
love
of
it.
mine, Sean Haas, previously of Haas Hemp. He started a new hemp company out in Texas recently, moved his whole operation and his family to Texas. He does all of my hemp genetics. So he does them all on his plot of land, on his on his garden. I mean, on his farm.
Uh-huh.
He did the cherry wine for 5 years almost exclusively, until he started doing feminized seeds. He's got some magic. We do some magic bullet from him that ended up with some really like melon terpenes. Those are feminized.
Ooh.
So we have one feminized hemp variety and one regular hemp variety, and that's the regular is the cherry wine, and he actually back crossed it, so it's cherry wine BX. And then we have the magic bullet as well. So those are just the two that we work with, because there's a lot of hemp strains out there. But the more and more we worked with other hemp strains, we realized that the genetic variance for the compliance, keeping it below the 0.3%
Right.
THC is
Don't want that
it's
hot strain.
important.
That hot
Yeah,
strain.
we we don't want our farmers growing hot hemp, and we don't want them coming back to us saying, you sold me hot hemp seeds. So we stick with the 2 varieties that have been, our bread and butter. So that's, and the list is kind of short on the hemp side.
Wow.
I always tell people, we got
I like it. I'm looking at pictures right now
on the cannabis side, but we only have 2 varieties, one feminized and one regular, because like they work, and we stand behind everything we do 100%, and we don't want to push anything out there that's a question mark. It's on the hemp side, 100%.
This is crazy, man. You had success with this strain, because when I Google it, there's a bunch of different people growing your genetics, and you can just fucking order it. This is so cool. You can just order this shit off the internet. It sounds like it looks like you're having success, and these buds look great.
Yeah.
These hemp buds look fantastic.
They're looking almost, some of them look just like indistinguishable from
That's what I'm
cannabis
saying.
flowers.
I'd smoke the shit out of that, man. All right, that's cool.
You got that cherry cough
Very
syrup,
neat.
terpene profile. It's really medicinal. It's a full. We also selected the cherry wine for its full spectrum capabilities. It's got 4, sometimes up to 5 cannabinoids, as opposed to just
ancillary ones.
Just the 1 or 2.
That's fucking great.
So
I love that, man. And I also love to see breeders that just do multiple things: photos and autos, hemp and high THC, whatever it may be. I like the blending of the 2 worlds. Thank you for taking the time to come on this show and share all of your strains, share your values. This was a fantastic episode, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah. Any final words? Obviously, everyone give them a follow. Heart and Soil Project, heartandsoilproject.com. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I just really appreciate the opportunity. I'm just really blessed to be able to do what I love for a living, and hopefully have a positive impact on the cannabis community. Like I said, it's just a blessing.
I think you've done that, man. So. I love that. I think you've achieved your goal. I love that. You're welcome back anytime, Brett. We'll have you back soon. Everybody listening, again, Heart and Soil Project on Instagram, at Growcast on Instagram for the show, at Jordan River IG for me. We'll see you next time, everybody. Be safe out there and grow smarter. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Before we wrap it up, I want to urge you, if you haven't got your Christmas shopping done, what is it, the 11th today? Only a couple weeks left. Go ahead and take care of it with Purity Coffee. Purity Coffee makes an incredible gift. It is high quality, organic, lab-tested coffee. Step up your coffee game. PurityCoffee.com. Use code RIVERS for 20% off. Get one for yourself, so you'll get hooked and thank me later, and then get some for your friends and family. It's an easy gift. The packaging looks beautiful. They'll be happy to receive some Purity Dark Roast, some of their flagship roast. They got decaf, they got K-Cups, they got steepable coffee in little sachets. PurityCoffee.com, code RIVER for 20% off. Get your holiday shopping done right now, courtesy of Jordan River. Bet you didn't expect that. No problem. I got you covered, guys. Thank you so much for staying subscribed. Such good content headed at you. Membership is bumping. So excited for what's coming up in 2021, guys. All I can say is stay tuned. Have a lovely holiday. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time on Growcast.